to
use
it? Or
it.
is it, if it's owned by National Geographic, it's owned by National Geographic.
I wonder if they would sign off on letting you put that on your podcast, because that would be fascinating as well, because I bet there's a lot that was missed on the editing floor.
Oh, you have no idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the good news is that I have
Come
still
on,
all
Nat
these.
Geo.
I know,
Let her have the footage. It would only help.
But I have all the contacts. So as soon as I start as this starts building up, the podcast, the hope is that I'll build it myself from the ground up, because all the contacts are mine. All the expertise is mine.
You have contacts with like assassins and drug dealers. You text each other. Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Send emojis.
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, these are people. I mean,
Yeah.
the assassins less so, but the traffickers and the smugglers and the scammers, absolutely. I'm still in touch with a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have like a file where you're like, like you
want to see my secret file?
But do you have them like labeled like super shady, less than just unfortunate circumstances, cold-blooded killers?
It's all under my encrypted messaging apps. No, it's really crazy because of the success of Traffic, the amount of messages I still get on Instagram and social media on a weekly basis from people who want to be on the show. Now with the podcast as well, I'm hoping that it will grow into that. But people just showing me their drugs and their guns. They show me photos of the stuff that they're doing, and they
Is it because these people feel like they're going to die anyway? Like they're going to probably get killed?
A lot of them are.
They're not afraid?
One of the most interesting people we filmed for this last season of Trafficked was a guy that we called El Gringo. So it was the premiere episode of this season. It was about Cartel. It was called Cartel USA. It's about the cartel presence in the United States. So I've reported extensively on cartels in Mexico, right, and in Colombia and in other parts. But I haven't actually spent a lot of time with the cartel here or seen what kind of influence they have in the U.S. And so I had this idea, okay, let's try to figure out how massive their presence is here, how they make the money, how do they distribute the drugs, and what impact is it having on in America. And what I found was several very surprising facts. The story actually starts in Sinaloa, because I had to go there to get access to the people in the U.S. So I had to go to the top bosses to be able to get the green light to then film their operations here in the U.S.
What is that like?
Sinaloa, I mean, it's the place in the world that I've reported more from, apart from the United States. I've reported more from Sinaloa than anywhere else. I have good contacts there. I have an incredible local journalist called Miguel Angel Vega, he's El Fixer. He's the guy that any journalist in the world who wants to get access to the cartel will contact him. And then he has his own contacts. He's just an incredibly brave journalist with his own contacts. And then he basically contacts his people, and then they decide if they want to talk or not. And a lot of times they don't. And sometimes I've done this so many times that by now they trust me. They know that I'm not law enforcement. And so they allow me to film their operation. So I've filmed super meth labs, super labs of meth there. I filmed fentanyl lab. I filmed a guy cooking fentanyl. We were all masked up, and I filmed the whole operation. I filmed sicarios. I filmed more from Sinaloa than anywhere else in the world.
But it's got to be very scary to go there and hang out with those people. Did they put boundaries on topics?
Not on top. Yes, for example, I'm not, even though I'm in Sinaloa, I'm not supposed to ask which cartel people work for, where it's obvious that when you're in Sinaloa, everyone works for the Sinaloa cartel. I mean, everybody that's involved in the cartel works for the Sinaloa cartel. They are the cartels trying to make headway in that region, but usually it's all Sinaloa. So you're not supposed to ask who exactly they work for. And there are some questions about money, for example, how much money they make. People don't like to ask that. But I always ask all those questions anyway. And you get a sense whether you're pushing it too far.
Right.
Or not.
Have you ever had a moment when you're doing that where you're like, I think I crossed the line?
I had a moment where we stayed too long. So it was a day we were doing a story. It was for season 1. It was about guns and how about American guns, the flow of American guns to Mexico.
That was when you got the police people that were selling drugs illegally. So for people that didn't see that episode, it's quite fascinating. Police in Los Angeles, dirty cops, were loading up their trunks with guns that they've confiscated
Yeah.
and then selling them across the border in Mexico.
Oh, they were selling it to gang members or affiliate of cartel members in L.A. who would then
They would cross
ship
the
it.
border.
Yeah, they would
Yeah.
cross the border and ship it to L.A. Yeah, we visited.
Crazy.
It was a scene. Yeah, it started with a scene, and that episode started with a scene in L.A. where we interviewed a guy who goes by the name of T, and he had a room packed with rifles. And when I started asking him where they were from, he was like, "Oh, this one was confiscated. We have an LAPD contact that sells us a lot of our drugs."
I just don't understand what benefit to them.
To the police?
Yeah, for
Money.
them. No, but for them to talk to you.
Which one?
Any of them, like especially the cops.
So it's the question that I get. The cops didn't talk. We didn't get
So
the talks
you got
to
it
talk
from
to us.
the people that
We got it from the
sold-
gang member,
that
who
the
sold
cops sold
guns.
the
yes.
guns to.
So I've spoken to cops who are doing amazing work here in the U.S. in combating drug trafficking and gun trafficking, and in Mexico as well. But these we're talking about corrupt cops. So that was not the case. This was a gang member telling me how he had acquired those guns from LAPD, confiscated guns that he had acquired from
But
LAPD.
even that, like, what would be the benefit to
For
him to talk to you?
So in that case, it went back to my contacts in Sinaloa. And I think it's 3 reasons why people talk to us. I think the first one is ego. People want to boast. And if you're part of the Sinaloa cartel, or even if you're a boss in the Sinaloa cartel, and there's an ongoing war between you, a turf war between you and another gang like the JNG, which is the Cartel Jalisco, they're fighting for power, right? So here's an opportunity to show how powerful you are. So it's ego, right? And a lot of these people that talk to me, I don't, very often or more often than not, it's not the bosses or the kingpins that I'm talking to, right? It's the sicarios, it's the middle and low level people. It's the traffickers, it's the chemists, the smugglers. It's not the kingpins. And for them, they spend their whole lives doing something that sometimes their own families don't know they do. Like I remember an episode we did about counterfeit money, people who make fake U.S. dollars and euros in Peru, in Lima. And this guy, like shiny eyes, so excited, showing me how he finishes these bills to make it look and feel and smell exactly like a $100 bill. And when I asked him, and he's a taxi driver by day and he does this by night, and I was asking him, so why did you accept talking to us? He says, look, my wife doesn't even know how good I am. I am the best of doing this. Like nobody in the whole world can make this as well as I do. And I always wanted to be able to talk to somebody and show off how good my skills are. And you're giving me an opportunity to do this.
That's crazy.
So I think ego plays a huge role. And then impunity, like in places like Mexico, so much corruption. Like what's the downside to talking to this woman who comes and asks funny questions, right?
Right.
And then I think it's the wanting to be understood. I think everybody wants to be understood, and they know they're considered the bad guys. They know that there's so much stigma around what they do. And I tell everybody, I'm here to try to understand what you do. I'm not here to judge you, because I think it's much more important to understand why you do what you do.
The guy who makes counterfeit bills, what's his process?
Oh, it's freaking fascinating.
Because does he replicate a dollar bill with all the little things inside of it? And
It was incredible. So there's the graphics person, there's the printer, and then he does the finishing job. He's the finisher. And he said he was the best finisher in the job. And I said I started calling him Cristiano Ronaldo, the Portuguese football player, because he's the finisher in soccer. So I called him Ronaldo. Okay, you're Ronaldo. And he uses it's kind of like a porridge that I used to eat when I was a kid in Portugal.